Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thank you very much for joining the channel today. Do please like and subscribe. It's down there, folks. And a link to my interviews with Sean Atwood, James English, and, of course, a connection to my book. I'm going to talk today about HMP GARTREE and planning permission that's been overridden by the government, and they're going to build another prison next to HMP GARTREE. This is going to be a high security prison for 1,700 inmates, and they're building it brand new, and it's going to extend the area, and the local authority, the council, have blocked the planning permission. It's been overridden by the government, and the local authority there have been told, you're getting another massive great prison. Well, it's just what we need, isn't it? I mean, for a start off, listen, I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it. The recidivism rate is over 60%. That means that 60% of the people who are in prison now, when they come out, will reoffend and be taken, guess where? Yes, folks, you've got it, back to prison. So who is benefiting from this? Well, the criminal justice system, the people who are the professionals within it, you may say that they're benefiting from it. It doesn't matter that we're destroying society, because what we're offering offenders, and listen, don't say, oh, they're offenders, throw away the key, they're shithouses, we don't need them. Scumbags, rubbing bags. It's your uncle, your brother, your sister, your mother. It's your cousin, your auntie, yourself. It's you. These are the prisoners. You and me. We're the people who get thrown into prison. Yeah, not Prince Andrew and people like that. Nah, they don't get thrown into prison, do they? Occasionally, one or two will get fed to the wolves, like John Stonehouse, the ex-cabinet minister. Mind you, it was completely outrageous what he did. Set up a bank. All the money that was deposited in his bank, took it all out, put it in another account for himself elsewhere, faked his death, buggered off, pretended he'd been drowned at sea, and then cashed it all in and went to live in Australia. Unfortunately, he got turned over when they were looking for Lord Lucan, and they thought he was Lord Lucan. Obviously he wasn't. He was John Stonehouse, the cabinet minister, and he ended up in Wormwood Scrubs. And what a horrible entitled piece of shit he was. And of course the governors and all that lot were all kowtowing to him. Not me. I didn't necessarily go out the way to be nasty to John Stonehouse. I just reminded him that he was the prisoner and I was the prison officer. And that was the arrangement that we had. And if he wanted anything else, well, he could piss off. He didn't like that, He complained about me. Now, you as reasonable people would think, what possible power has a prisoner got complaining about a prison officer who's treating him as a prisoner? John Stonehouse did. Within half an hour of him complaining about me, I'd been replaced. They brought somebody else to do my duty and to take control of Stonehouse, because he was in hospital at the time, and replaced me, sent me back to the prison to see the chief officer. Chief officer said to me, Mr. Sutton, he said, I'm going to word with you. He said, you've been upsetting the nursing staff at Hammersmith Hospital. I said, I didn't know I was there to entertain the nursing staff. I thought I was there to maintain control of one of our prisoners who was in there as a production, receiving treatment for a heart complaint. Yes, he said, that's why you were there. I said, so what's all this nonsense about entertaining the nursing staff? You were very rude to one of the ward sisters. Said she was interfering in a Home Office production, and if she had continued, we wouldn't be discussing this. The magistrates would be discussing this because I would arrest her. And then, the silly bastard said to me, you've got no authority to do anything like that. So I showed him my warrant card. It said, whilst acting as a prison officer, I have the full powers of a police constable. I said, and that's exactly what I do. Under the Prison Act 1951. Interfering with a Home Office production is a criminal offence. Said she's a nursing officer in the hospital, get on with that. I'm a prison officer, I get on with that. And as for John Stonehouse, when I'm in charge, he does what I say. Get out of my office, all that bollocks, you know. They didn't know what they were doing. And listen, the system is completely bollocksed. They're going to ruin, it's near Market Harbour, HMP GARTREE. They're building one next to it. And already GARTREE, I believe it holds something like 700 or 800 inmates. So they put another 1,700 inmates. So there are about 2,000 or 3,000 inmates, say 3,000 inmates in there. And of course, to do that, they've got to staff it. They've got to build housing for the staff. Where's the staff going to live? There's no housing round there. They can't get staff as it is. So what are they going to do? I know what they're going to do, eh? They'll recruit the Boy Scouts next, won't they? Or the Girl Guides, that'll be it, yeah. Add them to the Beverly Sisters, yeah. Get the hostess system, develop it, folks. That's what we need. Look, the prison system is bollocks. It don't work. You can't put somebody in prison for 6 months. It ruins their life. They lose their job. They lose their family. They lose their home. They lose the ability to maintain their credit ratings because they can't pay their bills. You know, all you're doing is making somebody a prime target for more crime. What about rehabilitating them, putting a tag on them, locking them up inside the house, something like this? Something with a bit of thought, yeah? But that seems to be beyond the Ministry of Justice. But I have slight hopes that Alex Chalk has got a head on his shoulders. And I believe he might start to think and do something different than this complete and utter bollocks of putting people in dumps like Strangeways and sitting them behind a bloody on a wooden bench sewing mailbags. Give me a break. Hey, this is the 21st century. This is not the time of Charles Dickens. This is not 1872. Come on. Time for a poem. Oh, by the way, have you seen my interviews with James English and all that, and that new podcast I'm doing? Coffee Break Crime with Sean Atwood. That's a song dinger, by the way. Yeah, I'm going to read to you now. This is just an extract. I won't read all of this. This is a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. Believe me, I really do love Edgar Allan Poe. I've been reading Edgar Allan Poe since I was 10 years old. I had to get a dictionary by my side, so I had a dictionary, The Complete Tales of Mystery and Imagination by Edgar Allan Poe. And I was reading the books, reading the stories, and of course he used a very elaborate English, and I had to study the words, and so I got the words, and as I read them, I memorised them, and that built up my vocabulary, and I read the entire works of Edgar Allan Poe by the time I was 12 years old. I absolutely love the writing of Edgar Allan Poe, and this is probably his most famous poem. This is The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrote its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," I said, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. It's the start of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Do like and subscribe. Connections down below. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.